The dressing room backstage was unusually quiet for Crash Adams. Known for his vibrant red suits, quirky glasses, and unstoppable energy, he was always the guy cracking jokes, loosening the nerves of other contestants. But tonight, something was different. His fingers tapped nervously on his guitar case, his usual grin replaced with a pensive stillness. "Crash, you good?" asked his duo partner, Rafa, giving him a playful nudge. Crash looked up, his eyes glassy, his voice lower than usual. "Yeah, just, this song, man. It's not just a song. It's me. If they don't feel it, then what's the point?" The song they were about to perform, New Heart, wasn't written to climb charts or rack up streams. It was written during Crash's darkest hours, a time when he'd nearly walked away from music altogether. 2 years ago, after his mother's sudden passing, his world collapsed. The stage lights dimmed, melodies lost their magic, and laughter turned hollow. For months, he stayed off social media, convinced the world didn't need his voice anymore. But New Heart came to him one sleepless night. He poured every broken piece, every ounce of grief, into the melody. It wasn't just a song about healing, it was a cry for survival. Now, standing backstage at America's Got Talent 2025, he was about to bare his soul to millions. His heart raced. His throat tightened. He closed his eyes, whispering to himself, "For her. This one's for her." The stage was bathed in a soft blue glow as the familiar red-suited Crash Adams walked out, guitar slung across his shoulder. The audience erupted in cheers. They knew him for his upbeat anthems on YouTube and TikTok, but none of them knew the story he carried tonight. Simon leaned forward, eyes narrowing with curiosity. Sophia clapped excitedly. Heidi gave a supportive smile. And Howie, as always, tilted his head, ready to dissect. "So Crash," Simon began, "you're performing an original tonight?" Crash nodded, gripping the mic. His usual cheeky tone was replaced by something raw. "Yeah, this song's called New Heart. I wrote it at a time when I didn't think I'd ever sing again. But, it saved me. And I hope tonight, maybe it helps someone else, too." The crowd hushed. Even the restless camera crew stilled. When Crash strummed the first chord, a haunting echo filled the arena, unlike anything the audience expected from him. His voice cracked slightly on the opening line, trembling yet sincere, like a man on the edge of tears but refusing to fall apart. Every word painted the picture of loss, despair, and eventually, rebirth. His tone swelled with pain but also shimmered with hope. By the chorus, the arena lights expanded into a warm golden hue, bathing the audience in a glow that felt almost sacred. "I built a new heart out of ashes. Found a new home in the flame. If tomorrow forgets who I am, this song will remember my name." When he hit the high notes, the crowd gasped. Some stood, hands pressed against their chests. Judges leaned closer, visibly moved. It wasn't a performance, it was confession, healing, prayer. Halfway through the song, the cameras panned across the audience. Faces glistened with tears. Couples squeezed each other's hands tighter. A young girl in the front row clutched her chest as if Crash was singing directly to her pain. Backstage, Rafa wiped his own eyes. He'd heard this song 100 times during rehearsals, but something about this moment, the way Crash gave every ounce of himself, was different. The second verse brought the story home. Crash's voice lowered, almost breaking as he sang about his mother's smile, how it lingered in every melody. The audience knew then, this wasn't just a new song. This was grief turned into art. Pain turned into hope. Simon Cowell, a man famous for his stern poker face, blinked rapidly, his jaw tightening. Sophia muttered, "Oh my God," under her breath. Heidi leaned forward, hands over her mouth, visibly trembling. The bridge swelled with power as Crash let go of the mic stand, strumming harder, voice booming with a mixture of desperation and triumph. He wasn't just performing anymore, he was releasing years of bottled-up sorrow into the world, letting it transform into something beautiful. By the final chorus, the crowd was on their feet. The lights shifted into a radiant red, the color Crash always wore, now symbolizing rebirth. He held the last note, his eyes closed, as if he were standing face to face with his mother one more time. When the song ended, there was silence. Not awkward silence, but sacred silence, the kind that follows a prayer. Crash stood there, chest heaving, guitar hanging by his side, sweat and tears mixing on his face. For a moment, he thought maybe he'd failed, maybe they didn't understand. Then it happened. The silence shattered into a roar of applause so thunderous it shook the entire theater. People screamed, cried, cheered his name. Some held their phones in the air, recording through blurred tears. The judges stood. Every single one. Simon was first to speak, though his voice cracked slightly. Crash. I've been doing this a long time. I've seen thousands of performances. But what you just did, it wasn't a performance. That was life. That was truth. And I'll be honest with you, I think that song could change lives. Sophia wiped her eyes, whispering, that was magic. Heidi nodded, unable to speak at first, before finally saying, you didn't just sing, you healed us. Howie leaned forward, his tone softer than usual. Crash, tonight you didn't just get a new heart, you gave us all one, too. The audience erupted again, chanting his name. Crash smiled faintly, looking upward, whispering, that was for you, Mom. Backstage, Crash collapsed into Rafa's arms, both of them laughing and crying at once. For the first time in years, he felt light. As if the weight he had carried was finally lifted. An AGT producer rushed up, tears still on her face, whispering, that was one of the most powerful moments we've ever had on this stage. As Crash walked down the hallway, fans reached out to touch his hand, thanking him. A teenage boy stopped him, tears streaking his face. My dad passed last year. I thought I'd never smile again. But your song, it gave me hope. Crash froze, his throat tightening. He hugged the boy tightly, whispering, that's why I do this. That night, the internet exploded. Clips of New Heart flooded social media. Fans around the world shared their own stories of loss and healing. Hashtags trended, hashtag Crash Adams, hashtag New Heart, hashtag AGT 2025. But for Crash, the true victory wasn't the views or the standing ovation, it was the quiet moment when he sat alone in his hotel room, guitar on his lap, staring at the stars outside. For the first time since his mother's passing, he smiled without forcing it. Because tonight, he didn't just perform. He lived. And he gave the world a piece of his new heart.